Abigador, 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 White Power. This is Robert Christopher Mac Jones, and I am sharing my Sf181 experience. So, I met Cheif Nanya Eil in, I want to say, 2016 while I was in grad school. Just because of where I was at in Kentucky, there's nothing much going on. I spent a lot of time on YouTube and just looking for answers to the questions that I had in my head. Just a lot of shit didn't make sense. And so when I came across Cheif and he was talking about the SF181 and iPads and indigenous standing and so forth and so on, I was like, wow, I need to do a little more research and see how far down the rabbit hole I can get with this. And so, first, I would like to share with you what my experiences have been. I picked three before I break down the iPads and the SF181. So, the iPads was one of the most important and intriguing documents that Cheif explained to me. That was because I was a graduate student. I was a graduate fellow at Murray State University. I was actually a minority graduate fellow at Murray State University. So when I took my paperwork to the woman who was in charge of all grad students' paperwork, it was like I turned over the apple cart, but the people there to pick the fruit up was happy. I've never seen nothing like it before. At least 7 to 8 white women hovered over this one woman and went through every sheet of paper I had given to her in the envelope. And they were dumbfounded. They had no idea, or at least they pretended to have no idea of what they were reading. But they had 1,001 questions, and all of them had a smile on their face that was unmistakable. They looked like kids at Christmas time. So that was my first experience. My second was the credit shit. Like, it's not a game, it's not a joke. People make jokes about it, they sound real funny. But as soon as your SF181 gets sent to all the places that it needs to be sent to, shit changes immediately. And for me, $65,000 worth of student loans and a whole bunch of a few other things just vanished off my credit report, all three of them. It was like it happened overnight, literally, and I was floored. I stopped telling people about the shit because they just looked at me like I was crazy. And outside of telling them that they need to holler at Cheif and Sa to do their SF181, that I really have had no other way to explain it. And I've learned the hard way that you really can't articulate this type of information to everybody. Which brings me to my third experience. It was very challenging for me to get my mother on board with what I was doing and for her to understand the things that I was saying. She's a first generation American, and for the most part, all she knew is what she was told. And, she bought into the whole American dream shit, hook, line, and sinker, because, that's what it was for my grandparents. And so over the period of time that it took for me to get to this point, I have been kind of beating the drum about the Sf181 and iPads, and stop calling yourself black. And it I guess it flipped the switch, because like for a second she thought I was losing it. She thought I was going crazy, just going to some kooky cult or something. And last summer I came home and I had all my stuff, and I said, "Here, read this, Mom. Read this again. Tell me what you think." And she said, "You know what? I woke up this morning with a clear vision of me handling my mother's documents, and in my hand was her birth certificate, and I clearly remember seeing her race designation as white." And when she told me that, I was blown away. The same morning, she took the package of paperwork that I had down to her friend's house, where she has coffee periodically, and they chit chat. Well, this day she left at 8 o'clock. She didn't come back to about 12:30 in the afternoon, and she looked like she'd been through it. Like she just left a molecular trigonometry class. And she was like, "Damn, you had the right idea all along." You know, Miss Shirley is a Native American. So that's what she was talking to. And Miss Shirley was telling her, she said, "Look, I don't fill out none of that shit. I tell them I'm Native American, and that's it. That's it. I don't check nothing else. Native American." And that's how it's been all my life. And Miss Shirley told my mother, "He's doing the right thing. He is on the right path. I don't know how he got on it, but don't disturb his groove. Support that, because he's going the right way. He's doing the right thing." And so that just cleared the way for, my mom's to be at peace and at ease with everything that I'm doing. And she supports my name change. It's now Nasir Salabe, and she's ecstatic about that. And so now what I'm going to do is let y'all know what I've known for quite a while now, and that is black has no standing at law. None. None, none, none. So, for those that don't know, Africans, South Americans, Middle Easterners, and Caribbean people, indigenous or nationals, are considered black. Black people are not entitled to human rights, as they are not considered human under international law. You got to know that. For people that don't understand why, the Dred Scott decision has not changed, it's not been overturned. All right? There are no rights that any black man has that a white man is bound to honor, uphold, and or respect. That's part of the decision in the Dred Scott case. He was a man who tried to claim his freedom, said he wasn't a slave, and they let him know different. And it's not changed. It hasn't been overturned, and it won't be. Black is not a race, language, land, country, culture, or ethnicity. Thus is not entitled to human rights and protections under international law. So as long as you claiming black, you're going to keep getting murdered in the streets by the police that don't get charged. It's unfortunate, but it's like that, and it's going to be like that. So, black, African Americans, African Canadian, Afro Latino, Afro Caribbean, etc., and those who visually look black, i.e., color of law construct, have no rights which are affected. So, like I said, the iPads was one of the most enlightening things that I enjoyed reading, because I was in school at the time, and so I was looking for the person that knew about iPads, and nobody copped to knowing anything about iPads at the white school that I went to. Go figure. So this is a breakdown of what iPads is. iPad's purpose is self-identification. The standards call for self-identification of race and ethnicity. The Department of Education encourages institutions to allow current students and staff to re-identify their race and ethnicity. So they're letting you do it. They have to. If a transgender person, if a man can say he's now a woman and he has to be recognized as such, then you have every right to say you are whatever the fuck you want to say you are. That includes being white. Common sense. It has to be that way. So iPads, integrated post-secondary education data system. The Department of Education's National Center for Educational Statistics core post-secondary education data collection program. These people are not fucking around. Whether you know it or not, they not playing. So we have 9 new race ethnicity categories: Asian, non-resident alien, Hispanic Latino, American Indian or Alaska Native, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders, white, 2 or more races, race, ethnicity unknown. Now, the racial category breakdowns: American Indian or Alaska Native. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of North Africa, South America, including Central America, who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. Asian, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, or Indian subcontinent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. So here's my favorite. Black or African American. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. There are no black racial groups in Africa. There have not been, nor will there ever will be. Okay? Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders, person having origins in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or other Pacific Islands. And so, where is the definition of white? Because you need to know that. Where is my white definition? My white definition ran away. Wow, that is crazy. So yeah, this would happen. Nope. So I just start all over again. Anyways, this is one of the many challenges you come across doing this, man. It never stops. It never stops. Okay. White. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. That is the best description of black people. Where in any of these places, the Middle East or North Africa, Europe is Africa. Okay, Europe is named after a princess named Europa. All right, there's nothing white about Europe outside of what they've misled you to believe. So, unless you are willing to, if this is something that you want to do, it's something that you need to do, you have to contact Cheif Nanya Eil and come on the webinar, see what it's like. They'll send you the information, and you got to put the work in. They'll work with you. They'll be there to help you, support you. But you got to put the work in. It's tedious, and you have to follow directions. And once you get it done, your life will change. Your world will change. Your friends will change. What you think, how you move, how you speak, and how you feel about yourself, how you look at yourself, how you listen to the news, what you see, what you choose not to see, people you choose to deal with. It's all going to change, and you'll be happy you made the change, because I am. Peace and blessings. Long life and prosperity to Cheif Nanya Eil and his wife Sa, and I thank you on behalf of everybody who you helped thus far. Peace and blessings. White power.